mates. Welcome to the first ever Women in Piracy Then and Now Symposium. This is a free YouTube live streaming event. This year's inaugural presentations and discussions will be led by pirate leaders from across the international community and will include two exciting presentations and conclude with a moderating closing plenary and discussion opportunity with yours truly, Guinevere Blackshades Lovelockett. I be the captain of the Thousand Islands Pirate Society, a large organization in Canadian waters, and first mate at Captain Tor and the Ne'er-do-well Cad's Pirate Invasion, a musical theatrical troupe that thrives on shenanigans across the North American continent thus far, although we're looking at making forays into the European continent as well. But without further ado, I would like to express that we're actually going to switch up our lineup, and we've decided to talk about now first and past later, which sort of sounds like a good idea if you think about it. So we're going to move forward then with the swashbuckling pirate leader in Brazil. Her name be Natalia Dino Perez, and she'll be articulating her journey into piracy, how she fully engages her community, and how she came into leadership under the Black Flag. So, without further ado, let's listen in and hear her story.
Hello, most people know me as Gino. I am a member of the Brazilian Pirate Alliance. We call it Aliança Pirata. And I'm 29 years old now, but I find myself as a pirate for about 11 years today. To talk about how I became a pirate, I have to go a little back for when I was a teenager, when I was 15 years old. I actually met some members of a small group of crews who used to hang at a place I used to visit almost every week. I'm sorry, English is not my first language. Well, that was my first contact with the pirate community. I started hanging with them, and as the time passed, I started feeling more confident about myself and the things I like, the things I would like to show the world about me. So I started dressing up and participating more in the events. In 2010, I went to live in another city, and that made me stay away from some of my friends. Many friends I had in the pirate group. So I lost contact with many of them, and also that year was life-changing for many of them, and for the reason many of them also kind of were not participating in the pirate community anymore. And that kind of made the crews teared apart. But then in the next year, I was able to visit the friends I still had involved in the pirate community. And I also had the chance to meet some of amazing new people who were members of another cruise. So suddenly I got myself even more involved with the pirate community. And I can say for sure that that was the moment that I realized I find the favorite people I have in the world. I find not only a group of friends that I'll take for the rest of my life, but also my family, the family I chose for myself. Also now I have to say I have a little boy. He's 10 years old now, and I'm proud to say that he's been raised inside the community. When he heard that I was going to talk here today, he got so excited and started asking me if we were going to become pirates again, because all of the pandemic situation, we have been apart, not dressing up, not meeting the friends for about 2 years now. And he's been doing this for his whole life. Well, like I said, I'm a member of the Aliança Pirata. with the biggest group in Brazil. It's an alliance between some pirate crews. Some of them are more involved, and others not so much, but still participate. Mostly we're here in São Paulo, the city I live now, but we have members in the whole country. We consider that our biggest activity are the thematic events, thematic meetings we organize. They are mostly open for everyone who wants to know more about us, to participate with us. But we also do some meetings more private, like just for the group. That's the biggest activity. We consider that the most important activity is actually dealing with humans. We try to get ourselves involved with social projects, helping people in need, but not only with resources like clothes or food. We realize that one really important need people have is contact and affection, and people to show them that they are important. It doesn't matter their condition. And that's what we always try to do. And since we are a family, we realize how much it's important to take care of each other inside the community as well, not only for those who is outside and for those who are going to be shown on TV when someone do a big event to give away clothes or foods. We try to do things that will really help and not only show ourselves to another people. In both activities, I consider myself more of a organizer, helper person. I'm not really the go and do it the kind of person. I usually be behind the event, in the organization. It's because I consider myself really shy, and it's hard for me dealing with a lot of people together. Wow. I usually say I'm a member of two crews. One of them is the one I started from the beginning. It's my official crew, where I have my official title. But there's another one who's the crew from my heart. There are people who took care of me for a long time. One of my best friends is the captain. So there's no way that I could say I don't belong to them, because I do. So today I do consider myself as a part of two crews inside the same alliance. In the official one, I am the only active woman today. We have another woman in the crew, but they are not too active. They don't participate too much, mostly because of the pandemic situation. It really got everyone kind of doing their own things, not so much together, but for another reasons too. The COVID situation was not the only reason. And in the other crew, the one from my heart, it's basically all women. There's, if I'm not wrong, there's only one man. The rest of us, we're all women. In the beginning, I mean, like when I was a teenager, I felt like there was no much space for us as women. We could not really expose our opinion or talk about our views. There was always a man to say, no, you're wrong. We're gonna do it in a different way. You don't know what you're talking about. It was frequently. And it changed a lot. In the past 15 years, it changed a lot. And it makes me wonder sometimes if there was a regional problem, if there was something that only happened there with those people. But actually, I do believe that it has always been a bigger problem involving everyone, because not only in the community, I do live those situations in every day in my life. So I think it was a general problem, but over the years, we as women, we standed up for ourselves and we earned our place in the community. Today, I can say for sure that even though we we are not majority. We, women, have the most active voice. There are, of course, some problems still remaining, but anyway, we still stand up. We know that there will always be a man who tries to diminish our importance and our influence, a man who does not respect our thoughts or our intelligence or even our limits. We know for sure it still happens. And not so much inside the pirate community. We see that happening more frequently outside in our daily lives, but we know it does happen. It still happens. And that's something we are aware of. So we, the women of Pirate Alliance in Brazil, we already know that actually people know us for earning our place. Everybody saw how much we make things happen and how much we deserved our respect. But the thing is, every woman does, even though some men doesn't see that. So for that reason, we know it's easier for the men inside the Brazilian community to show us respect. But we also know that it's not like that for every woman who try to participate inside the community. We know it's in a way or another, it's different for the new ones. So we stand up together and we will always try to make things better, to make sure that every woman will feel safe and will feel welcome inside our community. We are always open to talk to everyone, not only women, but talk to men too, because they need to learn that we deserve our respect. And not only for the women, but also for our children. Many of us inside the community here in Brazil, we have children. And we're trying to raise them because we know that the sexist behavior that mainly affects us, it is based in a power relationship. And it can also affect our kids because they are fragile. So as a mother, like I mentioned before, I've been raising my son inside the community, teaching him our values, to always respect everyone, always recognize that everybody else's lives are important as his own life. And I also try to make sure, since he's a kid, to teach him to recognize the situations that can be dangerous to himself or to his friends, and also to stand up for his friends, because mostly that they are girlfriends, because little girls are even harder to stand up for themselves than little boys. We have a lot of situations where little girls are afraid to talk about, and boys are kind of easier to tell when something wrong happens to them. They are naturally more, I don't know how to say that, but they have a different kind of strength. They don't fear so much as we do. Not our kind of strength. We deal with the situations and sometimes we keep it to ourselves. And that means too much power. To go over something that happened to you and feel like you can tell anybody and you have to deal with that by yourself. It demands too much power of a girl, of a woman, of a little girl. And I feel like for boys, it's kind of different. So I try to teach him that, to stand up for himself and for his friends. And since I'm talking about the strength involved in all the situations, I think it's valid for me to say that as women, it is extremely hard for us to be the strong one all the time, because we have to do all the time. in any situation that we show some kind of weakness, it's like we are open an opportunity for a sexist man to like step over us. It's like any flaw we show, someone's gonna show up and say, you are wrong, you don't know what you're talking about, you're just a woman, you have no idea what you're saying. So that's another situation we have to be strong, and we deal with that in every place, in every situation in your life, in our lives. So we do have to be strong all the time, and that's so hard. And outside of the community, we deal with that all the time, and that affects us physically and emotionally, and sometimes it does tear us apart. So I, not only me, but we all need you guys to help us, use your paper, your situation as a man to help us. You have to understand your responsibility in this situation, in this scenario. Even though you don't consider yourself a sexist man, it is your responsibility to prevent the situations and to do something to help us when you see something like that happening. If you have women friends, and you see they're talking about something, they are excited, they know what they're doing, and some guy just show up and say, "Girl, man, it's just a woman talking. She has no idea what she's saying." Stand up for her, get to this man and say, "Dude, shut up. Just shut up and listen." Because sometimes it's not enough just for us to do that. And if you do stand up with us, it's gonna make things so much easier, so much better for everyone. I think it's important that everyone remembers that everyone comes to us when someone needs affection, when someone needs to be taken care of. Usually you go to a woman, so respect us. If you want us to take care of you, to respect you, to show you our femininity, respect us, because we are strong. We are too much strong. So I think that's kind of the message I needed to say. I wish I had the opportunity to say that louder, and for some other people that I know I won't be reaching because they just get inside their own heads and don't listen to anyone else. But I really, really hope the situation is gonna get better for every one of us, and there's nothing to lose when women got their places and got more respect. I think it's an earning for everyone. Okay.
And I do not know what they are.
Okay.
Hello, all. This is Captain Smo. So we have 3 questions in the chat. The first one is, how big is the Pirata Alianza?
Sorry, I didn't understand. How?
How big is Pirata Alliance?
I can't say for sure how many people we have involved, but I know it's the biggest in Brazil. We used to do events before the pandemic situation, and sometimes we have events with, I don't know, more than 300 people. So for us, in a country where it's not that much, how can I say that? Here in Brazil, Pirates is not a very big known or very big famous team. In comparison to the rest of the world, we are a really small community. But I believe that the members, not only the officials, but the ones who like to participate in our events, are over 4,000, 5,000. The ones that do show up, I mean, not the ones who only participate online in the Facebook group.
I would describe that as a very substantial community. Very weighty. I would like to hear just a little bit more about your experiences with developing your confidence as a woman, as a leader within within piracy, and how that is reflected in the rest of your life. Do you find that the work that you're doing as a pirate, it creates greater sense of empowerment in your regular everyday life?
That was really hard for me because I have always been a shy person. So it was really, really hard to stay in a group of people and talk about everything that I wanted to. It was hard for me to talk about the things I liked or to show something I liked for everyone to see. I was a ballerina, so when I was dancing, it was different because when I was at the stage, it was like I was not myself. I was someone confident and someone who can do anything. But in my personal life, it has never been like that. So it took a lot of participation of my friends, a lot of help, a lot of I don't know. They're talking to me, showing me that I could be better, that I was a great person, and I could show that the world that it was not going to be a problem for anyone. And if there was a problem, it was their problem, not mine. So my friends, and when I mean my friends, I talk about the friends I got because of the pirate community.
Mm-hmm.
It was all about them. They helped me a lot to show me that I deserve to show myself, to not, to not hold myself inside, you know. So I needed to hear from them who they see that I was, to hear from them that they consider me a special person, someone intelligent, someone who could talk, someone who could do anything I wanted, to believe that I was. And then I start acting like that. You know, sometimes I just put a makeup to go to the supermarket, and I thought, oh, maybe someone is going to look at me and say, this girl is too much. She didn't have to dress like that to go to the supermarket. But that is their problem, not mine. I'm happy with who I am. I'm completely happy with the person I became. So if someone doesn't like that, it's not my problem. I don't have to do with that. They are the ones who have to deal with their own opinions.
Excellent. Captain Shmoo, would you be able to tell us what the next question is in the chat window there?
Yes, so we have Margaret McMillan here, so she's going to ask the question.
Hi, mates. I would like to know, what do you want to do first in your pirate life just after the pandemic situation?
I would love to see my friends in a big open space like a park or something like that, and sing and dance a lot. I was not the kind of person who used to dance, but the pandemic situation made me see that I have to do that because everything is just so fragile. We don't know when we're gonna have the opportunity to do that again. So I want to dance, I want to sing, I want to drink, I want to celebrate, I want to do everything that maybe 2 years ago, I thought that wasn't so important, because now I know that everything with my friends are important.
And we do have a last question. Go ahead.
What?
How's your relationship with your boyfriend? Does he allow you to be part of Piracy?
Yes, he is a pirate too. He's in a different crew, but he not only allows, because it's not something that I would stop if he didn't like, but he does like, and that's even better. You know, he does participate, he thinks it's great, and he always supports whatever I do. And I think that's the mainly reason, not talk about feelings and other stuff, but his support in everything I do is the main reason we're together. Because if it was different, it wasn't gonna work for any of us. I support him in everything he likes and everything he wants to do. And he supports me because he knows that to keep my my personality, the person who I am, to keep it alive, it's really important to me. And I wouldn't let anyone change that. He knows that, and again, he supports it. Thank you.
Most excellent. Well, I want to give 3 huzzas and appreciations for Gino for her excellent discourse that we've been listening to just now. Everybody, if you're be a pirate listening to this, I'm assuming that you've got a tankard somewhere present with you. So we're all going to raise our tankards to Gina, and we're going to give her 3 glorious huzzas. Hip hip huzzah!
Huzzah!
Hip hip huzzah! Hip hip huzzah! Most excellent. And I guess I need to know from the cheap seats whether or not we're progressing to our next guest.
Yes, we are. We're gonna be doing the songs.
Okay, so I think we're listening to music then, from what you're telling me.
Exactly.
Oh, fantastic.
We have 2 bands. The first band is a brand new band from St. Augustine, Florida, in USA. They will sing their version of Jolie Rouge from the Dreadnoughts. And also, we're going to have the Pirate Grace O'Malley from Fives Paint Mary. So let's go and listen to those songs.
From France we get the brandy, from Martinique the rum. Sweet red Cabernet from Italy does come, but the fairest of them all, me boys, the one to beat the day, is made from apples up the mighty Saguenay. So follow me, lads, 'cause this ain't no grog or ale. 1 pint down, you'll be swinging in the gale. 5 pints bully, you'll be shaking in your shoes. We're half seas over on the Jolly Rouge. She's called the Dreadnought Cider. She's proper and she's fine. And when the day's over, sure I wish that she were mine. Or in the dark of winter, or on a summer's eve. 1 hand giveth and the other doth receive. So follow me, lads, 'cause this ain't no grog or ale. 1 pint down, you'll be swinging in the gale. 5 pints bully, you'll be shaking in your shoes. We're half seas over on the Jolly Rouge. So you can have a Magners and pour it over ice. Or you can have a Strongbow if it's sadness that you like. Or join us up the river and we'll set your heart aglow. And how you'll feel when the real cider starts to flow. So follow me, lads, 'cause this ain't no grog or ale. 1 pint down, you'll be swinging in the gale. 5 pints bully, you'll be shaking in your shoes. We're half seas over on the Jolly Rouge. We're half seas over on the Jolly Rouge. Grace O'Malley is my name, and my tale now I will tell. Be I bound for the pearly gates, to the devil down in hell. A fearsome lass am I, and a pirate is my trade. I'll take my gold, no grudges hold, for the choices I have made. I sail the Galway shores with my pirate fleet at hand. I never knew a more worthy crew in all of Ireland. Ye merchant ships beware, when in our seas you roam, you'll have to face the wrath of Grace O'Malley hail your home. And it's sail with me boys through the night time, sail with me boys through the day, and we'll count our gold and we'll laugh in the hold all the way to Black Salt Bay. British I have beaten and laid low the iron dick. The Vulcan pine, the ships are fine, and the castle walls are thick. I've hunted down my enemies, slain them with my hand. They were to heal and wrap to see your grace in Ireland. And it's sail with me boys through the night time, sail with me boys through the day, and we'll count our gold and we'll laugh in the hold all the way to Black Salt Bay. Black Salt Bay. And I parted with the Queen. Elizabeth's hand gave me back my land and held me in esteem. In Rocky I dwell till the Lord God takes me home. And in the year 1603, the good Queen lost her throne. And it's sail with me boys through the night time, sail with me boys through the day, and we'll count our gold and we'll laugh in the hold all the way. And it's sail with me boys through the night time, sail with me boys through the day, and we'll count our gold and we'll laugh in the hold all the way to Black Salt Bay. Aye, Black Salt Bay. All the way to 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 Black Salt Bay. Aye, Black Salt Bay. Aye, Black Salt Bay.
Ahoy! I'm Captain Justin Case, and I'm part of the International Pirate Rendezvous 2022 North American Committee. And I'm here to make a video to ask you and your crew to help us to do an announcement video. You see, we have a location, we have a date, we just need a good video to go along with that announcement. And this is where you're going to come in. You see, we're going to do our own version of a Pass the Scroll video. And if you follow these simple directions and send us your 10-second video, you too can be a part of that announcement. It's very simple. First thing you need to do is get a camera and make sure you're shooting it in the landscape format, so not tall but wide. Right? If it's just you as an individual, you might need to close up. If it's you and your whole crew, you might need to back a bit. Then you're going to need something that looks like a scroll, right? This scroll is going to be passed in as if you're looking at the screen from the left side. So you receiving the scroll will be in from the right. So once again, grab it and you're going to bring it in. Then you're simply going to unroll it, peruse it quickly, have you or your crew react to the announcement, get excited, and then you're going to pass the scroll off to your left. It's going to look, as we're looking at the screen, to the right. So it's your left, right? And the passing can be anything. It can be someone running in and running out. It can be someone throwing the scroll in. It can be simply being handed in off screen. Now, when you react, don't be loud, don't be noisy. Just be physical, because we are going to have some background music over this. So once you're done with all of that and you've cut it in, it should take about 10 seconds total, right? Simply download that video and send us a link to download it, all right? So no YouTube links or anything like that. We need the actual video. So upload it to Dropbox, file share, anything that you can share the file. Then you're going to send a link to that video so we can download it to the email address now showing at the bottom of your screen. Did you get that? Good. Once we've received all the collection of videos, we're going to splice them all together. And then we are going to announce the date and the location of the International Pirate Rendezvous 2022 North American location. So we hope you can participate in our video. And if you wait 3 more seconds, we're going to give you an example, starring yours truly, of what one of those videos should look like. Thank you.
It's great listening to those fantastic tunes. Everybody else tapping their feet and doing a wee jig in the background, I'm sure. So, next step. I think it would be of value for us to do a quick toast, and I think I'm going to, in inspiration with the Women in Piracy theme. I think I'm going to introduce you, if you're not already familiar with, the Thousand Islands Pirate Society code toast that we do, and I think it fits very well into the proceedings of the day. So, tankards raised, and we all shout together, "A toast!
A toast!
For the love of pirates! We stand together, we grow together, and live free together under one black flag. Huzzah! Drink!" Now, our next guest comes from Quebec in Canada. I would like you to put your attention to Margaret McLennan. What a great name. And sounds like, the name sounds like the way I'm talking right now. It sounds... and she be the cartographer of her crew, and has many other fantastical titles and embellishments. And I will leave it to her to give you a better description of her place within her crew and what she brings as a woman in piracy. Take it away, Margaret.
Hey, thank you for the introduction, Guinevere. So it's a pleasure to be here, but it wasn't. So I'm not prepared for this this little presentation and this little participation to our fabulous symposium. But I will try to keep you with us for a few minutes. So I'm.
It's okay, Catherine. The key is to just jump over the rail, sword in hand.
And sorry for my English. It's not my first language, so I will try to don't do many mistakes. So I'm the cartographer for Pirates du Sans-Quartier in the south. We are on the south shore of Montreal, and I joined this this group 2 years ago only. I'm a brand new pirate, and but my husband and I had many years in the reconstitution, but in the medieval things. So we brought our medieval personae in the pirate, and the story fit very well. So Margaret now is a pirate and not not a medieval personae, and I choose to do a cartographer because I think it's personally I'm lovely to do painting and many arts. So I thought it was a good the good way to bring my not my talent, but my love of this art with the pirate. And it's we need cards in the boat, so to help my crew, to help my captain and all the crew on the boat. So I'm trying to do some cards to take notes on where we going, where we went, where we want to go, and bring my my God. I need some words, so sorry. But yes, I think that I'm a person who like to always si boulot, je manque de vocabulaire. Que j'aime ça apprendre, j'aime ça.
Like to learn.
Yes, I like to learn. I always want to learn something when I do something. So I think it's in the piracy, it's a great way to do that, because I have to learn always on my history, my personae, and on all the crew, what they do, what they want to learn. So we are there together just to help us. And so I think it's what I can bring to them and what they bring to me too.
I have a question for you, mate. So,
yeah.
Being new to piracy and being formerly primarily in the sort of more medieval sort of arts prior to, can you tell us some of the differences and what you've learned about being a woman in relation to being a pirate?
Oh, that's a good question.
Is there a difference for you in the way that you experienced the cosplay of the former things that you like to do, and now becoming a pirate and living the life of a pirate? What's the difference for you?
The big difference, I think, it's the way I'm playing I'm playing Margaret like a pirate, because I think that I'm more moi, je suis plus libre. I'm free more free than when I was a medieval personae. I think I have not more place, but yes, I could say more place to bring my knowledge and to share it with people. when I was in the medieval association, it was very we had a big structure, and we had to stay in this structure always in all events, and it was very stay lourd, stay
Heavy.
it's what yes it was heavy to keep it with the king, with the counts. And in the piracy, we are everybody is on the same step, and we are
a democracy.
What?
A democracy.
So
To the king.
Exactly. So it was it's that way that I like to do my personnel. So I like to be Margaret, a free woman, and standing on the side of my man, on the side of my crew. So yes, that
Most excellent. That's exactly the where to be. And so do you feel that like do you pick up arms beside your brothers in arms? Do you feel the the same call for the sea? Like, I think one of the things that people sometimes don't realize is that women in piracy, we've been there all this time. We were sometimes hiding in the shadows, but we were ever present, and often part of making some of the best decision making that went on, to be able to capture the prize. So I guess my question to you, in your newfound piracy rules, in your cruise, what other functions do you perform, and do you feel like you're an active part of the prize capture? I guess and do you get an equal part in the shares?
Yes, I think, but I'm a person who like to be in the shadow. I'm not the first person who go ahead, go. So I'm not the person being front of the group, but they know that they can. They know that I'm always there on the side to help to bring my arms, and Captain Smoo know that. I think, and in the crew it's the same thing. So I led the place to my captain, to the quartermaster, and my husband, the quartermaster, and I'm there to keep and to help them always. But if they need that, I take the front place. I would do, but it's not my. I don't need that. So I know that I'm there. I know that they appreciate what I'm bringing, what I'm sharing with them, and that's good for me.
I believe your experience and sort of the role that you're playing is a common one from the perspective of women often are great supporters of others. I think we play a foundational role in most of the crews in which we reside, and it is very true that it is often with our work behind the scenes in organizing and developing the event, or the situation as it's unfolding, that those things occur in success, because of those supporting roles that we provide. I myself agree. I am a supportive presence in my band, and although I sometimes provide a lead song or two, in general, I'm the second in command in that sort of place. Um, I entirely resonate with your position there. I'm wondering whether or not you can give us some ideas of how you're going to be pirating in this next year upcoming.
We have some events to come, so I will be present at probably at all events, and they know that that I will bring all my knowledge and all my stuff with me, and it will be a pleasure to meet the people, and at the event where we will go, we will have many people from everywhere. They will come to talk about each position on of the crew. So I'm there with my papers and my documentation, and it will be a pleasure to share this my passion with them. So yeah, that's it.
So I got a question for you. Which event are you going to be participating in Quebec?
In Quebec?
Yeah.
It's in La Naudière. We have the Medieval of La Naudière, so it's in July. And in Quebec in May, we have the Medieval Fair in Montreal. So we will be there with the crew. It's in July too, in Trois-Rivières. It's the Rassemblement des Coureurs des Bois. It's a gathering of Nouvelle France members and reconstitution. So the pirate will be there too. It's a new a new friendship with an Quebec association. So we will be there for a weekend too in July. So, and I'm supposed with my husband to be just a day, but at Brockville to see to see the Tall Ship Festival. So it will be a pleasure to meet you in real life. But it will be just a day trip for us.
Ah, well, we'll treat you like your treasure yourselves. So, and I might pickpocket one of those lovely maps of yours, because I hear that they show the way to lots of treasure in Quebec, and I'm definitely looking forward to some of that. I've been a little thin on the ground recently with all the pandemic stuff, so it'd be nice to pick up a wee doubloon or two, you know what I mean? Yeah. Well, where are we at, Shmoo? Shall we listen to another tune or two?
And yes, we do have more music coming from the Germany community. We have Jessie, Jenny, and Anna, who's going to sing Old Maui. And after that, we have a great song from Captain Thorne, the Native Whale Cats Pirate Invasion, called Bold Decision. And after that, we'll come back. So let's go.
Some tough life, full of toil and strife, we privateers undergo. And we don't give a damn when the gales are down, how hard the winds did blow. For we're homeward bound from the Arctic realm, with the good ship taut and free. And we won't give a damn when we drink our rum with the girls of old Maui. Rolling down to old Maui, me boys rolling down to old Maui. We're homeward bound from the Arctic ground, rolling down to old Maui. Once more we sail with a northerly gale through the ice and wind and rain. Them coconut fronds, them tropical lands we soon shall see again. 6 Hainish months we've passed away on the cold Kamchatka Sea. But now we're bound from the Arctic ground, rolling down to old Maui. Rolling down to old Maui, me boys rolling down to old Maui. We're homeward bound from the Arctic ground, rolling down to old Maui. Once more we sail with a northerly gale through the worlds of island home. Our whaling done, our mainmast sprung, and we ain't got far to roam. Our stranded bones is carried away, what's carried for the sound. Our living gale is after us, thank God we're homeward bound. Rolling down to old Maui, me boys rolling down to old Maui. We're homeward bound from the Arctic ground, rolling down to old Maui. How soft the breeze through the island trees, now the eyes is far astern. Them native mates, them tropical glades is awaiting our return. Even now the big brown eyes look out, hope it's some fine day to see. Or beggy sails running for the gales, rolling down to old Maui. Rolling down to old Maui, me boys rolling down to old Maui. We're homeward bound from the Arctic ground, rolling down to old Maui. Rolling down to old Maui, me boys rolling down to old Maui. We're homeward bound from the Arctic ground, rolling down to old Maui.
I made a bold decision to sail upon a pirate ship. I made a bold decision to tie me hand and say. I made a bold decision to cast me lots with rogues and thieves, to sail upon the ocean, sail the 7 seas. I made a bold decision to stand up for the common man. I made a bold decision to stand up for myself. I made a bold decision to thumb me nose at kings and queens and fight beside the grabbers. You know just what it means. We're all going on the account together. We fight tyranny and injustice for freedom. life, but a merry life and a life that's free. For a pirate's life is a short life, but a merry life and life that's free. I made a bold decision, freedom over servitude. I made a bold decision to risk it all and say I made a bold decision to be a rover and adventurer, to sail upon the oceans, pillage on the seas. We're all going on the account together. We fight tyranny and injustice for freedom. For a pirate's life is a short life, but a merry life and a life that's free. For a pirate's life is a short life, but a merry life, a life that's free. I made a bold decision, it's time to make a stand. I made a bold decision to give me mates a hand. I made a bold decision, no longer I'll be poor. The taverns will welcome us when we return ashore. We're all going on the account together. We fight tyranny and injustice for freedom. Life is a short life, but a merry life and a life that's free. For a pirate's life is a short life, but a merry life and a life that's free. For a pirate's life is a short life, but a merry life and a life that's free. Aye, staggering. Get the crew off. I'll be along shortly. Miles from the longship's light.
Leave her, Captain, leave her.
She's blowing up for a dirty night.
It's time for us to leave her.
'Twas an Alfred song she run aground.
Leave her, Captain, leave her.
The ocean swells and waves do pout.
It's time for us to leave her. Oh, leave her, Captain, leave her. Oh, leave her, Captain, leave her. When the voyage is done and the winds don't blow, it's time for us to leave her. It's time to let her go.
She's down by the head and sinking fast.
Leave her, Captain, leave her.
Her name and numbers up at last.
It's time for us to leave her.
We've pumped her up with right good will.
Leave her, Captain, leave her.
Her day and night she's sinking still.
It's time for us to leave her. Oh, leave her, Captain, leave her. Oh, leave her, Captain, leave her. When the voyage is done and the winds don't blow, it's time for us to leave her. It's time to let her go.
She smashed above and stove below.
Leave her, Captain, leave her.
There's nothing left, let's roll and go.
It's time for us to leave her.
We've sailed the seas on many a song.
Leave her, Captain, leave her.
Had had some drinks, but that's all gone.
It's time for us to leave her. Oh, leave her, Captain, leave her. Oh, leave her, Captain, leave her. When the voyage is done and the winds don't blow, it's time for us to leave her. It's time to let her go.
The crew's all gone, abandoned ship.
Leave her, Captain, leave her.
Accept her fate, release that whip.
It's time for us to leave her.
In her time, we lost many a man.
Leave her, Captain, leave her.
But she won't have you, and that's a plan.
It's time for us to leave her. Oh, leave her, Captain, leave her. Oh, leave her, Captain, leave her. When the voyage is done and the winds don't blow, it's time for us to leave her. It's time to let her go.
There's many a ship that needs your skill.
Leave her, Captain, leave her.
And many a crew for us to thrill.
It's time for us to leave her.
We've loved the ship, she's done us proud.
Leave her, Captain, leave her.
The ocean's gray, it's her death
It's
shroud.
time for us to leave her. Oh, leave her, Captain, leave her. Oh, leave her, Captain, leave her. When the voyage is done and the winds don't blow, it's time for us to leave her. It's time to let her go. Let's go!
Creaking timbers, her death mode.
Leave her, Captain, leave her.
If you stay aboard,
Let's stay to go. It's time for us to leave her. Oh, leave her, Captain, leave her. Oh, leave her, Captain, leave her. When the voyage is done and the winds don't blow, it's time for us to leave her. Oh, leave her, Captain, leave her. Oh, leave her, Captain, leave her. When the voyage is done and the winds don't blow, it's time for us to leave her. It's time to let her go. It's time to let her go.
Okay, so we had a question, Gino, in regards to the bold decision. Can you
Yes,
ask?
I do. I
Yeah,
actually
go
have
ahead.
a question. And I would like to ask you where the inspiration to the song came from.
Came from the notion of that moment when a person who's been living life under the yoke of the system, when someone has been living life under the king and country, and says to themselves, you know, I don't have to live by your edicts. I don't have to live by your ways of being. I can live my own life. I can make my own destiny. And a bold decision speaks to the moment, that second in time, that decision that you make, that you want to live a better life, that you want to live a free life. And for a pirate, there's nothing more freeing than living a life on the sea and living a life of adventure and purpose that is focused on that growth and living a truly actualized life. And that is the impetus behind that particular tune. If you listen to the lyrics, you'll hear that this is a person who's and every pirate can have this feeling, that this moment in time where we all feel like we have had enough and we now need to turn the page and create our own adventure.
I think that's really amazing because as a pirate and as a woman, we need to find that moment for our lives in general, but also in the small communities we participate, to show everyone that that's it. We're gonna do what we want to do, and that's not something that someone else will decide for us. I really, really loved your song.
Well, thank you. That's the inspiration behind it. You'll be pleased to know that we've written about, I think we're up to 7 or 8 at the moment, that we will be recording within this next year. And we've decided we will likely release them individually. And then when we have them all released, we'll pull them all together into a compilation and then release them as a single album. But we have a number of other songs that focus on different elements of what it is to be a pirate and what the life of a pirate is like. And some of them are very saucy, and then others are very moving. And we're excited to be in the recording studio working on those new musics as well. So I think I hear that we may be able to move forward with our author. Without further ado, let us listen to our well-known pirate genre author, Laura Nelson. She will be holding forth about the enormously interesting topic of past experiences and conditions for women in piracy. Like, what was life really like as a woman who was a pirate? So, let's hear from Laura now.
Hello, everybody. I'm Laura Nelson. I am the author of 2 books called The When a Pirate Speak. One is just When a Pirate Speak. The other is Volume 2. And these are compilations of my nonfiction articles I wrote about some of the pirates of the Wittig Valley, some of the men who sailed with Sam Bellamy. And those were published on a couple different websites, and I compiled them into 2 different books. I also did a dabble into the world of fiction and wrote For the Love of a Pirate, which is also, all the books are available on Amazon for anybody who might be interested. This one is about a girl who goes to a pirate shipwreck exhibition and comes into contact with a couple of the spirits of the dead pirates and things that happen. Apologize, sorry, my allergies are really bad. And like I said, everything is available on Amazon. They wanted me to talk to you a little bit today about women in piracy in 1700. I took a few brief notes. I didn't want to talk too long in case anybody had any questions for me. So I started out with, let's remember the situation of women in 1700. Today, we're used to social services and we're used to increasing women's rights throughout the world. Remember, those days, those things weren't there. Women in the 1700s had very little job opportunity. Most women sought marriage as a form of security for income and social status. Most of the kinds of jobs available to women were domestic type jobs, being maids, seamstresses, charwomen, tavern wenches, and being prostitutes. And we're going to say some of the same conditions probably happened to women back then that happen now, that not all women who were prostitutes wanted to be prostitutes in those days. But of course, there weren't as many services to help them get out of that unless they worked their way up to being a madam and had their own house. That opportunity was there, but of course that was a lot of work, and prostitution was something, being a tavern wench was probably something you did mostly when you were younger. Maybe you married a tavern owner later for security. So opportunities for women were a lot more limited in those days. And jobs on land, even for men, if your family was more well off, if you were a little young boy, your father might pay for you to have an apprenticeship and work your way into a job that way. But for most of the poorer families, even for boys, opportunities were limited. You might be a chimney sweep, you might run the streets doing odd jobs, or you might end up being a street thief or being an outlaw to make your money, unless you were a farmer and had that opportunity. So even for young boys, the opportunities were not as much as they are today. Remember, back then, the differences between the classes were a lot stricter. There was a lot less movement between classes. I mean, even with a lot of people feel that the divisions between the classes have become more in the last decade or so, it was even more so back then. There was pretty much whatever status you were born in was the status you were going to have all your life. So getting out of that was a lot harder. So reasons people might choose to go on board a ship was just for something other than, was extra job opportunities. And like a lot of sailors do now, the chance to travel. Just keep in mind, when you got on board ship, it was very cramped, crowded. Those ships were very small. Your living conditions, the common sailors. I took a tour of the USS Constitution a few years ago when I did my vacation in Boston, and the common sailors didn't even have bunks like they do now. They just slept in hammocks, which were like shoulder to shoulder. There was like a pillar and a bunch of hammocks hung off of that, and there was a few pillars like that. And then that was like your personal space. You had your sea chest, but that was like it. So there's, pretty much next to no privacy unless you moved up to being an officer. Those ships were not really clean. You had the smell of the tar, the bilges, unwashed bodies, because people didn't wash a lot. They didn't believe in it in those days. These days we're used to people, especially after the pandemic, or as the pandemic winds down, let's hope, we have our germophobic people who are very scared of any germs. And in those days, people didn't believe in germs. They couldn't see them. So there was a lot of people just were not as clean because they just did not understand about germs and germ transference and things. And that was another hazard for women, was having a baby was a huge hazard because we didn't understand about germs, and doctors used the same instruments on everybody, and they didn't realize that they were transferring germs around, and because they couldn't see it, so they didn't believe it. And there was a lot of disease on those ships. That was one of the reasons, for those of you, that was Blackbeard's blockade on Charleston. A large part of the reason for his blockade was to request medicines that they commonly used to treat syphilis in those days. There was a lot of sickness, and even among the prostitutes, the tavern wenches, there was a lot of STDs, for want of a better term, because it just, like I said, people just did not always understand the cleanliness. Now, one of the things I was exploring is how might women get on board ship? Well, remember, in those days too, there were not the labor laws that we have, all these protections that we have now, at least in the more advanced countries, if that's a term I'm allowed to use. So boys as young as 8 years old might sign on as a cabin boy or something like that on a ship. And until a certain age, sometimes boys and girls, there aren't a lot of differences. Boys have high voices until they get to an older age. So it's easy, a woman might pass as a young adolescent boy for several years. And there's a really good book. I forgot to bring it in here with me. I was going to show you, but it's by David Cordingley, and it goes into a lot of women who went on board ship. Some of them followed husbands or boyfriends or lovers. In a couple of instances, they got pregnant, had a baby, and decided they didn't want to. Maybe the baby was born out of wedlock, which was a huge shame back in those days. And so they ran away, got on the ship. And one of his theories for how they might have done it was, we know now, like Olympic athletes who are in heavy training with women, a lot of times stop menstruating and developing for a while. It's not harmful. It's just when you're in heavy training, that happens. And work, even as a housewife, we didn't have the modern conveniences, and it was much more labor intensive. Doing laundry in your clothes was a huge, major affair of labor, of physical labor. So shipboard work is very physically laborious. And one of his theories is that probably what happened to a lot of the women, because we're doing such heavy labor and the food wasn't always so great, maybe they just stopped menstruating or delayed the onset of that. And so they kept their lean bodies for a longer period of time and got away with just being looking like an adolescent boy for a lot more years because of that. And the other thing is, in those days, we're used to IDs and things and birth certificates. Most of the time, those things were not as common then. In a lot of cases, you were lucky if your church recorded that you were born and when, and that was about the only record of you, unless you were arrested for something, pretty much. So most of the sailors change ships frequently. So you'd serve on one ship for a few months to a year, go to another one, and you could get away with being this adolescent boy for quite a while. And David Cordingley's book is really good for women who like that. There were a lot of cases where the women were discovered later. Most of the time, they took them back to land and they put them in jobs of things like sweeping the deck or something, because now they're like, oh, it's a woman. Now what do we do? What can she do? And they realize, well, she's been doing the work of a sailor all this time, but they don't want to acknowledge that she's been doing that. And so they go, well, I guess we can have her sweep the deck or something, And so that was kind of the things. Now, of course, there's always the outliers, to use Malcolm Gladwell's term for it. Anne Bonny and Mary Read, we would call outliers, although there may have been women who went in the Army. There are physically large women as there are physically large men, and physically smaller women. There are physically smaller men. So a larger built woman might get away with serving in the Army, especially if maybe she didn't appear feminine, very feminine, things like that. And Bonnie, the part we know about her, she married James Bonny. She was only 16. Apparently he got her to Nassau and she kind of went a little crazy and started sleeping with everybody and jumped on all the ships and things and slept around. But of course, that dirty ship where nobody's clean. I don't even want to imagine what that was like. But so there were a few women who did. There's probably women we don't know about who may have been on these ships and been pirates, been forced into piracy, or maybe they joined because they were in danger of being discovered, so they went somewhere new. So that's entirely possible, and we simply do not know. So there were, let's use a name, Bart Roberts' crew, they have the names of who was executed after the shipwreck of the Witta. They don't say they found any female bodies, but who's to know without any documentation? Anyway, that is my portion. If you have any questions, I do have the public Facebook page at the Witta Pirate Speak. If anybody has questions now, I'm unable to hear for some reason today. So maybe somebody can type the questions out in Messenger for me. And thank you for listening. I appreciate your time.
I would like to know how she's addressed within the context of her fictional work, the role of women at that time. Now, did she decide to follow the common edicts in terms of the way that woman would behave, or did she give her more power, a sense of empowerment in any way? Does this woman character behave in a way that is different than the circumscribed behaviors associated with women at that time? So in short, is the woman character in her fictional work a typical woman of her time, or does she give her the opportunity to be more?
Okay, I'll try and answer that one. Roman times. I don't have any featured in my books right now. And that's mostly because just a lack of documentation right now. Right now, as far as I've been able to discover from lists of names, there were not any women that we know of. There's no mention of finding any female bodies among the dead sailors after the shipwreck that washed ashore. I didn't do Mary Read and Anne Bonny because they were not on the Witta, and at that time I was limiting my writing to that. And there's so much material already out there on them that without something new to add to it, it's the same reason someone asked me once why I didn't write about Blackbeard as well. I don't really have anything new to add to it, as I'd just be repeating what everyone else has said. And again, Mary and Anne, like to use the term, were the best term for it, were outliers. They were unusual for their time. Most women would have looked askance at them. A woman who didn't get married and raise children, how terrible, Mm-hmm. Remember, women didn't have our freedoms of choice that we're starting to have these days.
The two additional pirates that I think would be good to have a quick mention of, who potentially, in Laura's words, may be considered outliers. However, I think that you're going to see a common theme here, whether we're talking about Anne Bonny or we're talking about Grace O'Malley, who was considered the pirate queen of Ireland, or Ching Shi, who also was arguably the most famous and the most successful of pirates out there. And all from different time periods, mind you, right? Ching Shi was in the 1800s, early 1800s, as sort of that last wave of piracy, whereas Grace O'Malley was in the mid to late 1500s, so 1530s to the early 1600s. And that's the common thread, I would say, between these different pirates was, you heard the expression, a woman scorned. These pirates decided to take the law into their own hands when they found that the law was operating against them. So Grace O'Malley is famous for her contribution because she forged a career of seafaring and piracy. Her clan, and a shrewd politician as well on land. She, in fact, went face to face with the nobility and was considered to be a friend of them afterwards because she was not willing to do more than stand her ground. So she was given many concessions that others perhaps maybe would not have had, and that's because of her bravery and courage. And then, of course, Qing Shi. She brought the whole notion of family piracy to a whole new height, and had ships that were filled with families that were operating for her, and largest of fleets, and the most incredible spread of activity. She was sought after and marked. Her head was marked on many occasions. But at the end of the day, the understanding is that she retired. She gave up her captaincy and retired. So very, very interesting choices that women pirates were making at these various times. But clearly, a woman who feels that her family or her her clan is being threatened in some way, we have no problem stepping up and challenging the authority of the day. And that, I think, is a common thread with women pirates, that we're not willing to stand down. So, Laura, we have a question for you. We would like to know if Laura faces any difficulties being a female author of the pirate theme.
For me, the hardest part, I don't know if it's so much being female and writing about them, but I haven't yet gone and gotten my master's or my PhD in history. And so my biggest problem is, without all that alphabet soup after my name, people don't take me as seriously. Maybe it's partly being female. I'm not sure. But it is kind of weird sometimes not having any women to write about. That would be nice if I had some women to write about, but maybe someday I'll find something that I can document and put in there. So hopefully someday, but unfortunately not right now. But that's the biggest problem right now that I have. The barrier I face right now is not having the history degrees like the other authors.
Thank you for that, Laura. That was very candid. I can understand that sentiment, but I'm very proud to know you and that you've provided this information to us, and I encourage everyone to listen to her statements here and read her books, and provide her with some feedback and reviews on those, which would be lovely. Kapitan Shmoo, do you think we should move into a question period? Or
yes,
do you think
we have one more song to play. So the next group band that we have, it's called Musical Blade. They're from Texas, and those guys put a song on Ladies Pirate. So it's called The Extra Jane. So we're gonna listen to that, and we'll come back after.
They've got Sally in the galley, they got Nancy in the nest, they got Mabel on the cable, visiting Mary to confess. They got Alice on the quarter deck and Libby's in the hold. They're the crewmates of the Estrogen, they're ready to unload.
Don't underestimate them, matey, though we know they look so fine. The fairer sex does not fight fair, they'll get you every time. They'll woo you with their wiles, and then they'll steal away your hearts, then leave you just a tool to suck you in. They're undefeated in the game and never have drawn blood. Just give a smile and bat their eyes, you're a loser in their club.
They've got Sally in the galley, they got Nancy in the nest, they got Mabel on the cable, visiting Mary to confess. They got Alice on the quarter deck and Libby's in the hall. They're the crewmates of the estrogen, they're ready to unload.
All right, crew, here we are, down in the pub. Oh, fancy me a drink and a snow. Right, it's been so long on the sea. Look at that strapping young lad over there. He doesn't have a shirt on.
They're tough and they are ruthless. They are rough and they are crude. But the pretty package really hides this sunken attitude. But best not rub them wrong, boys. They're likely to explode. And for a week, about every month, they go into God mode.
They've got Sally in the galley, they got Nancy in the nest, they got Mabel on the cable, visiting Mary to confess. They got Alice on the quarter deck and Libby's in the hall. They're the crewmates of the estrogen, they're ready. They got Sally in the galley, they got Nancy in the nest, they got Mabel on the cable, visiting Mary to confess. They got Alice on the quarter deck and Libby's in the hall. They're the crewmates of the estrogen, they're ready. They're the crewmates of the estrogen, they're ready. They're the crewmates of the estrogen, they're ready to unload.
If you enter the docks by the smuggler's stairs, there was a ship that would take you there. Fortune or wrong, no matter here in the grand Iberian town. Land of the free, libertad. Governed by the people of the land of the free, libertad.
Excellent. So, our next question is, how is gender and inclusivity present in the pirate community? And how is that changing? Is it, do we feel that there's growth and improvement in inclusivity in the pirate community? And how can women foster that improvement? Gino, do you have any thoughts on this topic?
I think the whole gender question is more connected to us women than to men in general. Because of the whole situation with the minorities, and we tend to find something that we have in common, like our fight, like we have to struggle to set our place, to show ourselves to the world. So I think it's more connected to us than to men, even though it's important for everyone to handle that question, to deal with that. But I think it's still something we're working on. I cannot say that it's perfect, that everybody who participates in the community, it's okay with that, is I don't know how to say that. It's like embracing, accepting. I would be lying if I said that everybody's accepted, but it's not something that we have to diminish. We have to talk about that even more and more. We have to act like it is something common, because it is. It's normal. It happens to everyone, but people don't see that. And the fact that people don't see that make other people feel like we have to hide something. But when everybody sees the changing, when everybody sees that other people around are accepting, are proving that is normal, it's easier for them who are small-minded to start accepting. So we in Aliança Pirata, we are against any kind of judgment. Like we try not to get in, to decide things for someone else. You know, it's your life. You have the right to live your life the way you want. Of course, there are some things that we cannot accept, like intolerance, for example. We have to accept everyone. If you come to our group and you identify as a woman, you identify as a man, you don't identify inside the gender, it's your problem, not ours. We just accept you because you're a person like us. The thing we don't accept is the opposite of that. Like someone gets into one of our events and identify as a woman, and someone else disrespects that. That's the kind of thing we don't accept. We demand respect to everyone inside our community.
That's truly excellent. I want to take a moment to expand on that just for a second and read for you the Thousand Islands Pirate Society, which is the organization that I helped to found and grows today across North America. Our mission statement and our vision statement, these are published to the world, and they are what every pirate who joins the Pirate Society agrees to. They actually have to sign the ship's articles that speak to this. There's a declaration that they complete, and they do this on an annual basis. So we review it and we ratify it annually. So the Thousand Islands Pirate Society's mission statement says that the Thousand Islands Pirate Society is an inclusive crew of pirates from every race, culture, creed, age, and gender identification that have signed the ship's articles to sail under one flag. Our motley crew celebrates and supports the many diverse talents, skills, and abilities of our members through organizing and participating in a wide variety of exciting events and adventurous activities where we come together for the common good. In these ways, we learn, teach, and grow from the pirate history that has shaped us, and to enjoy being pirates who sail together. And that's our mission and vision statement. So it seems to be very, very congruent with Gino's definition and description of her crew in the Brazilian area. So, Laura, do you have anything to contribute on this topic? Or perhaps Marguerite?
On this one, I think I'm gonna agree with what Gino said. It's however a person identifies, and I think that also, I mean, let's be honest, not all the women are going to want to dress up as tavern wenches. Some might want to wear more traditional 1700s women's dresses from that time. And that should be accepted also. But if, like she said, if people are not judging and letting people be who they are, then I think that's just absolutely perfect. Everybody should be free to dress up, have fun, go have a good time, and let it be an environment where they're not judged.
And yes, I totally approve what Gino said too. We shouldn't have to work hard to take our place. We just have to stand up together, and our mans and crew will be there. If we not accept, but if we, yes, accept to go on the front, they will be there with us, and they will stand up with us, and so we just have to assume that we are equal to men, and they don't have to say no.
So if you can take the mic for a second. Yes, I'm going to talk about the IPC, the Intentional Pirate Community. So to that answer, how can we improve the gender inclusivity? For us, it's really easy to give opportunity to women or to any gender to take their place. So create event where they can lead those event and show their talent. Whatever, sometimes it could be like a burlesque dance, and go ahead. Like we will be supporting people that wants to do what they want. And for me, it's really important that we create, and all the members of the IPC officers knows where we want, where we stand in regards to gender inclusivity. And to be fair, we need to give, like I said, I mentioned again, opportunities. We all have something special, and we need to show it and give the opportunity to show it.
What a great segue, Capitan Shmoo, to the next question, which is, how do women in piracy make their mark? Where are the areas that we see gaps and opportunities for women to step into leadership? And where could we see women show their mark within piracy? Gino, do you have some ideas from your crew where women can step up?
In my crew, I believe that we, as women, we have a more, how can I say that? I'm sorry, I'm thinking about in Portuguese, but I can find the words in English. I think we work more in organization. We usually are responsible for organizing the events and telling people about it. But also, as I said before, I think everybody look at us, because we are women, they look at us like we are the people who take care of things, the people who take care of another person. And even though that's not necessarily our obligation, it's also something that gives a mark, you know, it's something that people will remember us for doing that. So I think it's not something we should have to struggle to say, hey, I'm here, look at me. Mm-hmm. But I think doing what we already do, being ourselves, we can give this mark. We can show people that we are around. But the thing that is most importantly is losing our fear. Because most of the times we stay away from sight because we are afraid for who's going to see us. And we need to lose the fear to show ourselves. Because whatever we do, we need to be true to ourselves. But sometimes we are afraid to show our truth, mostly because we feel like we're going to be judged. So I think that's the most important thing we can do. We can embrace ourselves. We can lose our fears and show ourselves.
I think it's an excellent answer. Thank you so much for that. And I think that is, it's a great way of looking at it. It isn't about necessarily stepping out into the limelight. It isn't always about being in the front. In our crew, for example, people pick up all sorts of different areas and tasks. And we identify people in different areas. So we have an officer corps, but we also have what we call masters and mistresses of different arts. So we have, the master at arms, we have a mistress of coin, We have a mistress of mercantile. We have a number of these different areas in which, for our crew, have been important pieces of the equation, and people have an opportunity to step into those jobs and experience what it's like to grow as a pirate within that context. So if you've never felt comfortable owning a particular type of skill or event before, you can partner with someone, learn how to do it, and then be able to step up on your own. So I think that's incredibly important. And I think women, how one of the ways we do this is I think we're very good with partnering, and we're very good at teamwork. I think we focus on how to bring people into to feel like everybody's participating. And I think that's definitely a strength that we bring as well. Does anybody else have a comment on this topic of how to make our mark?
How can pirate women make their mark? Well, they have in the past. Okay. How can pirate women make their mark? Well, they have in the past. I said that woman who was against the Romans. There's the Irish pirate women. There was the Chinese women. I think the problem has been that because they were women, history did not write about them as much as they did the men. So I don't think that's that the women did anything wrong. They just, history kind of ignored their accomplishments. But I think hopefully as time goes on, we'll see more of that coming out in our history books than has previously been acknowledged.
I think that's a great point. And hopefully we will see more of the women in piracy represented in literature. Does Margaret have anything to say on the topic of making your mark?
I think that we have to assume what we know, what are our knowledge, and just take our place to share what we know, share it with our crew, with people who come at an event where we are, and don't be shy to do it. It's our personality, it's our knowledge. So we have to share it, and it's how we can show what we can do, and don't be shy to do it.
Excellent, Margaret. Thank you for your comments. We have
Let's say,
have a final. Oh, sorry.
It would be fun to do once a year, maybe next year with some prep time. We could do some research into some of women pirates from the past and maybe present some of that. Might be kind of fun to do with a little preparation.
So what Laura is speaking about right there is our very next question, which is how can we prepare for another symposium? What topics and questions are people interested in? What are the things that we could present on if we were to run a similar event? So Laura speaks to more history, which I think is important. I would love to have a presentation on Grace O'Malley or Qing Shi or even the ones that have been done, but I think many people aren't aware of all the history associated with Mary Read or Anne Bonny. With the advent of the program Black Sails, I think that that's really raised the profile of those two pirates. But there are many more out there as well. So I think if we had someone who is interested in presenting on that, it'd be lovely. Other ideas and topics. Gino, do you have any thoughts on that?
I think it would be great if we talk about in another moment how to find, not to find yourself, but how to express yourself as a pirate, how to combine the things you love, your personality, how to combine that with your pirate persona, especially for a woman, because I think men have more references than we do. So it would be interesting to bring some woman who already have their persona developed and who has an easier time showing themselves, showing what they like to do, living their pirate life. It would be great to support women who are beginning.
Thank you, Gina. I think that is a great idea. It's something that I often find myself working with brand new pirates with, is how to name themselves, how to express those pieces of themselves that they want to show as a pirate, what kind of character they want to develop, how to create their garments that will better display who they are. There's lots of different components associated with it. In our pirate society, about 3 times a year, we hold something called a sewing weekend, where everyone gathers together and we help each other create our costumes and our characters. And we do that through all kinds of arts and crafts and all the things that we need to do to make those costumes. And I think if we could help others along this same journey, it would be marvelous. Other ideas?
It could be interesting to talk about how to create our historical personae, where to look for some reference, some just to make just to put the meat on the bone for our personae. So when we go into an event or just meet somebody else, we can talk about like me, Margaret McLennan, where I'm come from, why I'm on the Sans Quartier crew, where but I was with another crew before. So we can build a good history for each persona.
Well, I want to thank all of our presenters today for participating. We have Gino Perez from Brazil. What a magnificent speaker. She touched my heart so many times. Please go ahead. Just if you want to have any wrap-up things that you'd like to say.
I would like to thank you guys for inviting me to be here today talking to you. I would like to say I'm sorry for anything I might say wrong, because, as I said, English is not my first language, so sorry. But I'm really, really happy to be part of the community, and I'm happy to be here with you guys. I mean, for me, in another country, that's something really big, that's very special. Thank you, guys.
Absolutely wonderful. And then, of course, we had our illustrious author, Laura Morton, and let's just thank her very much for being part of our panel and providing some history of how women were perceived at the time of pirates and why they may have chosen a life of piracy as opposed to being basically in marital indentured servitude within the context of their lives otherwise. So thank you very much, Laura. Is there anything you'd like to say in goodbye?
Sorry, I don't know why the call isn't working on the audio end for me today. I'm not sure what happened there. I didn't do anything different. But thank you for listening. I really appreciate everyone's time who came. And I really enjoyed interacting, even though I was difficult to communicate with today because I couldn't hear you. And again, any further questions, go on my public Facebook page and I'll do my best to answer them, okay?
Excellent. Excellent. So that was Laura. And now, finally, I'd like to again extend my gratitude to Margaret McLennan, who leaped in to assist us with our panel discussions off the hop. What a great joiner, and I absolutely appreciate the words of wisdom that she imparted, and feel free to just step in with a comment or two.
Thank you very much to each of you. It was a wonderful and amazing symposium. We are blessed to have three wonderful pirate women, and thank you to share your story, to share your knowledge with us. So I hope to see you next year. We should have another symposium next year, so we will take your comments for the next time, and don't hesitate to contact us on Festival des Pirates or IPC web Facebook page, and we will take your comments there for the next one.
So thank you so very much, and it would be remiss to not introduce again and thank our indomitable Capitan Shmoo, who's been instrumental in putting this symposium together and helping in the background to make it all possible. A few words from Capitan Shmoo, and then I will help to sign off.
Yeah, thank you, Guinevere. It was an amazing journey for me to prepare that as a project manager. There is so much good leadership that comes out of women, and if men could just listen to them, man, that would be a better world. So hats off to you, ladies.
Thank you so much, Capitan Shmoo. So, in closing, I did want to put in a shameless plug for our Tall Ships Festival that's going to be happening in Brockville, Ontario, and that will be June 25th and 26th in the waterfront area on the mighty St. Lawrence River. And Tapping Tour and the Ne'er-Do-Well Cads will be performing, and the Thousand Island Pirate Society will have an enormous encampment there, where we will have lots of fun and games for everyone. We will be pillaging and plundering smiles and laughter from one and all. So if you're in the neighborhood, or if you'd like to make yourself be in the neighborhood, we will welcome any and all who would like to participate in our encampment. And that pretty much wraps up the event for this evening. I plan now to do another toast to everyone that was involved and everybody that's listening in and that will listen in when this thing is chopped and chipped and turned into something intelligible for for the public. So again, if you could raise your tankards high. A toast.
Toast.
To all the women in piracy. May they forever be proud and treated with respect and honor, and treat one another with respect and honor. Forever shall we lift each other high. Forever shall we be true to ourselves under the black. Huzzah!
Huzzah! Santé et buvons!
Slancha!
There's a tattooed man with a cut-off hand, got tales to tell from a faraway land, without both king and noble man. In the grand
Library Town. A free port when you never see no royal laws authority, where speech is free and so shall be in the grand Library Town. If you enter the docks by the smuggler's stairs, there be a ship that will take you